Will this nullifying magical crystal play a significant role to a very important mage's demise? And what will it mean if Frieren's party does end up meeting with Wible to fight some demons? Will it have anything to do with this guy? After the first episode of season 2, Frieren Beyond Journeysend, I think we all have a clue as to how Studio Madhouse is going to handle the adaptation, if they do indeed keep the season much shorter compared to season 1, or even push to release it in parts, and that is lots of anime filler, which is a good thing because we get scenes like these. Spoiler warning, on this channel we will be covering the Frieren season 2 episodes from an up-to-date manga perspective, so I will be referencing future arcs and plots, but stay anyways because you can't help yourself being spoiled. So episode 29 overall, Ja Ikoka, covers manga chapter 61, Magic Nullifying Crystal, and 62, Why I Set Out on This Journey. Season 1 already established much of a slower pace, slice of life feel of the story, and this episode started off with just that, opening up riding on a carriage before mentioning with an NPC that their journey is still leading them to Oriol, up north by the Demon King's castle near Inde. And what stuck out to me the most that we didn't get in the manga was this scene with Wible getting seasick, as they actually been traveling by boat. There's a deliberate thematic artistry in how season 2 episode 1 opens, mirroring the carriage scene that opened in season 1 episode 1. Then if we include the opening credits, it shaved about 4 minutes of our lives away before catching us with the yeah. And that is actually where chapter 61 begins, with the booty. Honestly, if the episode opened up with the timeline being ahead a bit as a hook for the episode with the chapter cover, I wouldn't be mad. But after a couple of years since season 1, it's nice to re-establish quickly the vibes of Frieren and their journey to Inde. But back to the yeah! When you see booty, it usually never ends well, as Frieren is also wide awake in the early morning, which almost never happens. And the last time we probably remember hearing this music, what Frieren found was a magic nullifying crystal. Instead of an item that neutralizes your clothes, it neutralizes magical effects. Thus, fire, be gone. Frieren goes on to explain that this nullifying crystal has a radius of about 3 meters. That's about 10 feet in freedom units. For manga readers, we all know damn well why this matters exactly, because during the Foundation Festival arc, Frieren explains that strong warriors can yeet the strongest of mages like a Frieren, Fern, and maybe even the Feet Goddess during a surprise attack within close distances. And that looks just like maybe around 3 meters to me. Frieren goes on to explain how rare this crystal is, and that you can even buy a whole damn mansion with it. But we all have logic like Fern. What is money if you're not alive? It's too dangerous for mages to carry something like this. And there is the other obvious questions we have, like how does such an OP item that can basically yeet mages exist? Who cares? Because when you feed it mana, it brightens up your day before you don't see the light anymore. As Frieren's party inch closer north, they tease fan service, as they are still pretty far away from the northern plateau, entering a volcanic area where a hot spring will be. But there's a surprise! As they try to float in the air, they start to realize. I'm sure we all thought of this the first time reading this or watching this now. Did they just stumble upon an infinite mage yeeting hacks? While Kanehito may have just all of a sudden introduced a complete hacks, at least against mages, there is also a balance to this. It's literally the hardest known mineral demand that can't be mined or processed using magic. And the anime does something here that the manga didn't do to prove just how hard these crystals are and why it's worth so much, with Stark trying to split one in half. Still, as all types of theories are surrounding what is going to happen in the Foundation Festival arc, where the great mage Serie, Ashi no Megami, may or may not get yeeted, a bunch of warriors somehow utilizing these magic nullifying crystals is not totally out of the question. And it really makes you think about that little piece that Frieren found. How did that break off? And who potentially could have these items? Maybe some rich people. We've seen in one instance in the Foundation Festival arc where magic was nullified, like in Wible's fight against Noi with the sparkles, and what he has here in this bottle. The one big clue here was the sound of buzzing insects. Through these two scenes where Frieren poured her mana into these crystals, now that we're able to hear these sound effects, does it sound like bugs? You be the judge. Frieren pretty much explains that Fern and herself are just ordinary vulnerable girls that Stark has to protect while they are stuck in this cave that zaps all of their magic, but she still hasn't forgotten. Frieren montages are always elite, and the Stark Fern shipbuilding continues, adding more to the legitimacy of the vulnerableness of Fern and Frieren. This scene captures that darkness a little more terrifyingly with the contrast of Frieren being totally relaxed and putting all of her faith into Stark. It's a venomous apex dragon, and we all know our Stark is going to shonen his way out of this by running. A little nugget of intel in the scene is a reminder of Stark's poison resistance. It's good, but apparently not enough against this dragon. And so it makes me think if maybe the poison the Shadow Warriors used on Stark could have been related to this creature. Most importantly, this scene is just a reminder of why working together as a group matters, and how much faith you have to have in each other. It's a sentiment that is heavily echoed in the Foundation Festival arc. And what do we have here? More amazing anime-only action scenes from the hero's party. As Frieren fans, we are definitely eating, just not the dragons. This is where the episode adapts chapter 62 with the most important interaction being with Wible, Serie, and Sharf, as there will be tons of unknown ramifications that the manga has yet to even cover. But before we get there, look guys, this is why I always say this, because the animators have always told us what? That they like feet!
Ecchi.
The anime continues to do a good job at maintaining this relaxing vibe, with Frieren pointing out all the precious gifts that Fern has continued to happily maintain. And a very subtle lore element and kind of like a foreshadowing in a way gets brought up with Fern's past of being from the Southern Lands, how she lost everything like her parents and home due to the war. Because Stark caught the ladies bathing, it created an awkward atmosphere as they continue moving north, hinting at Frieren's social skills and situational awareness catching up to a normal person's. This leads Frieren to introduce a dilemma. Maybe Fern and Stark are not compatible. She brings up the point of Stark being forced to join their party, but we all know this is one of those fleeting dilemmas that is just meant to continue developing the Fern and Stark relationship. For future lore and plot purposes, it's this interaction with Wible, Serie, and Sharf that becomes the most compelling. Wible is the captain of the Northern Magic Corps, and word got back that demons are rampaging once again in the northern frontier. They ended up traveling by boat up north and now are going back to the Imperial capital. But that is where apparently the three will split up. At least that is what the manga implies, but maybe not. I was really hoping to see more about these demons at the northern frontier, but this is basically all we got, just like the manga panel. Building upon the conversation earlier between Stark and Frieren, the story tries to build some kind of doubt that Stark is willing to leave Frieren's party, as Wible wants to recruit frontliners to help fight against these demons for about 2 to 3 years until everything settles down a little bit more. But as we can all deduce really quickly, it's really about developing Stark and Fern. I mean, look at her. She's like, no, not my man that I like beating up. Of course, Stark denied Wible's offer, with Fern coming to address that very issue late at night. He reveals that it wasn't just Frieren, but it was Fern that came to him that night to convince him to fight the solar dragon, to convince him not to run away. It's a nice feel-good scene that further solidifies his loyalty towards the both of them, with Fern being an even bigger catalyst. So be nice to your boy. Head pat. To take us out of the episode is some more anime only filler back at the end before everyone sleeps, with Fern reminiscing about what's really important to her. It's something that really mirrors what Frieren does with her ring that she received from Himmel. When she feels the most scared, she holds on to Stark's mirrored lotus bracelet that he gave her. And it's nice to see that she cherishes Craft the Monk's gift as well. And after that nice treat, I really couldn't help but laugh. They really gave Sharp a line. I thought animation studios were cheap. The short convo about traveling by boat is anime only, and I'm proud of Sharp and his voice actor. It basically reiterates the themes about adventuring and taking detours like how the hero's party did during their 10-year journey to defeat the Demon King. How all these tangents within their journey, it really does matter. As they split off, Wible mentions that they will likely see each other at the northern frontier anyways, leaving an air of mystery of what the future plot could entail, in which I believe it has to do with Stark's backstory, and potentially with this demon. Check out my video here where I go further in depth about Wible, the bloody god of war, whom fans theorize that likely yeeted Stark's entire village. He could be up north. That is where the episode ends, and we get this nice ending credit scene with Frieren and a bit of Himmel, and we all know what's coming next. Humanity's strongest hero, the hero of the South, his backstory. Let me know what you guys thought about this episode. Did it solidify or did it change your mind about some things in comparison to the manga? Let me know. Or else the Frieren manga hiatus won't continue.
不合格だ